All right, guys, so I just did some morning routines, morning routine cleaning, and I want to talk about two ladies, especially, to start your home when you have nothing, to live on nothing. And obviously, I talk about pro-life here, so I'm going to show you ways, and you can look at my Stellar Shine channel too, that I posted on my my post section here of my channel, that you can make it really on nothing. It does not have to cost much to have children. So when my husband and I lived together on Monroe Street, I want to talk about this a minute. We were madly in love. I mean, madly. So I just watched a video doing my exercise with people playing soccer. This is on my exercise channel. There was a video to the song Lady. So they're kids, and this is kind of where it starts, right? So my husband and I went to Epsom Central School in Epsom, New Hampshire. Very basic school, didn't have a lot of money, small town, and we had our group of friends we hung around with all the time. So we used to play soccer together. My husband was really good at soccer. My husband was super good at it. He had a trophy and everything. Um, and then we used to hang out. I mean, back then, kids had plenty of time together, right? So we used to hang out. I had a pair of boots that I think my mom had brought me that didn't have a lot of tread on them. So in the winter, we used to sled on the hill, and these were my dress boots. These were not meant to have a lot of tread. And I would wear those, and I don't know why I wore those, because, us girls, we wear different stuff, right, to feel accepted and all this stuff. So these boots did not have much tread. And I had a group of friends, Jason, who I had a crush on, Jason, Jeff, Mike Briggs. A lot of people know that name. We all went to school together. Chris Yetton, Jeff Allen, a whole bunch of us, right? And we used to hang out. And we used to go up on a hill to go sledding, and my boots would always, you know, be difficult for me to get up on that hill. And once I got up there, usually the guys would push me so that I would slide back down, right? And I wouldn't be able to stay on the hill because it didn't take much to push me, and I'd be sliding back down. So we were very physical with one another back then. I remember getting dragged across the soccer field by the guys with grass stains all over my new jeans, and my mother took a fit when I came home and had grass stains and rightly so. She was upset. New grass stains all over my new pants. So, my new jeans. So, I got picked on a lot. Me and my friend Chris, we got thrown around. We literally wrestled with the guys and everything. So, we were kind of tomboyish. I remember one time, I think it was Jason who swung me around, and then he swung Chris around, and her finger broke. So there were a ton of stuff we all did together. We lived life strong together. So, talking about this, so my husband and I had dated a guy, and then my husband and I, lo and behold, were meant to be, or my ex-husband, I should say. And so we started off, we were madly in love, and my dad was the one who was like, you can't get married, you don't have any money, or something like that. And he's like, what are you going to do? Live on love fumes? And I'm like, yep. And so that's what we did. We went and we lived together first, and we had nothing. So we started off with crates. We started off with, you can look at my video. We started off with a day bed that I had from home that I had wanted. And, the thing kept falling apart when we were sleeping together. So we knew we needed something else. And his grandmother, Ruth Sawyer, came into the picture. She was kind of always just a helpful person to us. And she just came in, and she had gotten us, family had a bed, family had a bureau. Family later on, his Aunt Lori had a rocking chair. So when I had my firstborn, she's like, you can rock him. And I used to sing, You Are My Sunshine to him when I used to rock him. So that was a song that I always kept for him. And then I had a song for my second one, and so on. So, but by then I had a real rocking chair. So then we had moved, we were young and dumb. This is before we had kids, and We had moved, and the place cost a ton. It cost a ton because of the heat. Um, so then we moved. This is when we had separated. He just is like, I don't want to go out anymore, and I'm like, what? And so that was pretty painful because I thought we were good. And then we had moved into, let me see, I was living with my parents for a short time. And so then I moved out on my own on Route 28, where my Uncle Bill and Tina had lived. And then we moved into Route 28 together. So we were there, same thing, we rebuilt, we had stuff given to us, we had a housewarming party because we had gotten married when we were living over there, had everything given to us, and then we had moved to, where did we move after that? My aunt had a place on North State Street, so we had moved over there. We had landlords swearing and screaming upstairs. It was not the best place to live, but we had great neighbors. My husband had room to fix his, I think it was his Camaro at that time. We always had junk vehicles that he would fix up. Didn't have to spend a lot on transportation. Um, Let me see. We were always at our parents', so we didn't really spend much on food or anything. And then once we had our firstborn son, and I had gone to pregnancy centers for stuff, for a car seat and clothing and everything. I had a baby shower with a crib, diapers, everything. My second born, the church put on a baby shower for me over in Pennacook, and I had a lot given to me there. And then with my third son, uh, there was some friction going on. So, I mean, my mother gave me a couple things. There was no big baby shower then. My in laws gave me something. And then the fourth son, I think the same thing. And then the fifth son, another baby shower. So that was with the church. That was with a friend who put on a baby shower for me after I had him. Like I had him, and then it was like a year later we had a baby shower because he was colicky, and I could not literally put him down, and I could not sleep for like a whole year with my last one. And my first one slept like I mean, he just slept all the time. He was very easy, my firstborn. My second one was a little colicky. We would use the Nova that my husband had, and we would give him a ride around the block, and he would fall asleep, or I'd take his car seat and hold on to it while I put it on the washer, and the vibration would make him go to sleep. Um, so anyways, and then I used a swing, to get my guys to sleep, the little play swing. But I did not spend much money at all. It was mostly me with my hands raising my kids, my time. So, and then I had one of them on the sling like backpack thing you can put on your stomach or your back. And I carried my kids around with me, on me, to help them sleep. Or they slept in my bed. And a lot of people were like, oh, you shouldn't have your child sleep in your bed, especially doctors. And I was like, you know what? It's fine. He's right there. I'm going to watch him. And I did that. One of my sons actually had turned white when that happened. It was just I was there and I was able to catch it. So, I mean, I was really close to my sons. Another one had turned white. My fourth son, who just had his birthday, he had turned white. Didn't know what was happening. Took him up to Dartmouth Hospital. And, my sons still remember that, my older sons, because they got to play video games at the hospital. And the grandparents took them home, I believe, while my fourth son was getting checked. He was only like, what was he? It was July, April, yeah, like 3 months old, and I thought it was Sid. And I just happened to be, he was laying on the couch, and I was watching him as I vacuumed in a trailer. That's another thing. I had my kids in a trailer, very cheap, so that my time could be given to them. And he was taken to Concord Hospital first. They couldn't find anything, and then Dartmouth, and they did all these tests, and then and I would dress him up in like this cute little tee, saying he was a prince, and all the nurses fell in love with him, and they wanted to keep him. And anyways, he was just a cutie. So I swear I had the cutest babies, guys, the most beautiful babies. And so you know, we got back to Concord Hospital, and I honestly looked like I was lying. I honestly did. Nobody could find anything. And then I'm like, okay, they were keeping him, and I'm like, okay, I'll go get breakfast. I'll go home and get breakfast for my other kids, and I'll come back. Well, when I had come back, they heard the beeping noise go off on the machine he was hooked up to, and they caught it. They caught him turning white, so I wasn't losing my mind. And they said he had choked on his spit. So I thought I was going to lose him, and that was really scary, especially if you've had an abortion before. You feel like all the time you could lose your kids. You know what I mean? Because you can feel like God is punishing you. So that was really scary. And then they're like, it's probably because you're nursing him. And I'm like, what? And they're like, try formula. And I'm like, I'm not going to try formula. And then they figured it was he was spitting up. Just he had that what am I thinking of? Yeah, reflux. And they figured he was just spitting up and choking. So I had to watch him a little more carefully. But having your kids, and this is why I'm talking about where I had one of my kids in bed with me, and I always like had them on my body or watching them like a hawk. It really makes a difference in your mothering. I mean, you don't have to have. We tried with the crib with our firstborn to have like a little monitor, and I did not nurse him. He was bottle fed. And I had actually left a bottle in his mouth at one time just to, feed him to give my hand a break. And I think it was the nurse or the doctor said, don't ever do that because that can decay their teeth. So, yeah, so he was the one that, I tried for a minute, just the expensive baby equipment. And I'm like, why am I spending money on a monitor when I can do a better job watching him? So I became a very hands-on mom, very hands-on, very watching my kids like a hawk every single second. And then I also had a situation where somebody tried to kidnap one of my kids. He was outside playing. A red car had stopped. We already taught him not to go with strangers. And then the car just drove off when I was like, I went out there to find out what was going on, and the car had just driven off. But they were trying to get him in the back seat. And I was looking out the window watching him because I had just gone into the home for a minute because I always was outside with my kids watching them when they were young. And yeah, that was pretty scary. But my point is always, always, always watch your kids, always be near them. And when it comes to your home, like I had a comment on here, Kevin Leandro in my other video saying, oh, your home's always disgusting. No, it's not. I had somebody come in and they were like, your home is messy on the surface. Because I was like, oh my goodness, I'm so embarrassed. And she's like, don't worry about it, Melissa. You have kids. You have kids. Don't worry about your home. She's like, it's not at a level that's really disgusting. It's just messy. And so that helped free me with my homemaking because a lot of times I felt like, oh my goodness, I don't have the dishes done or I don't have this done. And we would have people over and I would feel totally naked, like totally vulnerable, like, oh my goodness, my home is too messy for you to come over. But I had other people show me, Melissa, you have kids and those are the priorities. So, and then I had another lady come over before. I had many people in the church involved in my life. And when I had my first home birth with my third son, we had people bringing over dinner, which was great. And they helped me. And I really feel this is important in the pro-life movement. They brought over dinner. They stopped by, brought stuff over, helped me out. And I'm telling you guys, I had no money. I had nothing. I actually later put the home births that I had. By the time I had my second home birth, Medicaid took money for home births. So I had nothing. The first time the hospital gave me a bunch of stuff for my firstborn son, I was ecstatic. I had a bag of stuff from them. So even though I was materialistic for a time as a teenager, growing up in my childhood, I mean, I had everything but had nothing. Like we were always out and about with people, so I wasn't into stuff, yet my grandmother always gave me stuff, and my great grandmother gave me stuff, and my great aunt Doris gave me stuff. But I wasn't into it because I was busy all the time doing stuff, you know? So then, yeah, so the people came over, they helped me out a lot. I had one lady come over and say, "You cannot clean your home in a whole day, Melissa." She goes, "It takes more than one day to clean your whole entire home." And I'm like, "Is that true?" And I'm like, I think she has a point because I would beat myself up feeling like, oh, I didn't get this done or I didn't get that done. Sometimes I was a little impatient, with my kids. Like I'm trying to do dishes and, there was a little bit of impatience there. But I had to learn over and over that your kids are more important than how your home looks. And so just letting the dishes pile up. Let them pile up, ladies. Let someone else help you. Later on, my husband did the dishes all the time when I was working. So don't be afraid to delegate, take the help. Yesterday, my son went and did groceries for us because I had to work. And I gave him the money, so he was very happy to go take $100 bill and get what some of the things he wanted to with that. So it's funner to spend someone else's money, right? So, anyways, delegate stuff. As my kids got older, I delegated pretty much everything. We had our morning chores. And that was important because you're trying to not spend much money. You're trying to survive, right? And we had a low income, so I did offset everything with resources. So now what we're seeing is, not only did I have my schedule of a morning routine, and then we would start school, homeschool, and then we would take a break, a snack break, and do more school, and then it was lunch break, and then it was one more time of school. So I had a very tight schedule, and this is with naps and everything before I even really homeschooled. They had to have their nap time in the afternoon. But then as they got older, I would homeschool, and then we would take a snack, and then we'd have a afternoon break they either played outside, I read a book, or we went somewhere and they had activities as they got older, and then it was dinner time and family time. That was pretty much my schedule, and you can do that with your hands. You don't need a lot of money, Monday through Friday. Weekends were to go see family in church and have extra time together to have fun. So, and then I had my weekly schedule, and then I had my monthly schedule, and then I had my yearly schedule of what we would do. So your schedule is really important. You don't need a lot of money. And now what we're seeing, I saw this with Obama, that people were starting to work more. Moms felt like they had to work more. You had a two-income family, and so a lot of people couldn't homeschool, right? And now what we're seeing in Colorado is they're trying to pass bills where if your child decides to, be transgender at all and you don't agree, your child can be taken away from you. So my son and I, who is a teacher, was talking about this, and I'm like, more people need to homeschool. They need to homeschool, and he mentioned the two income. And I really think that the two income thing is something so that moms usually can't be home. The expenses are really tough. So you're going to have to, if you really want to raise your kids and have children and have a family in this day and age, be more frugal. And you really can do it on nothing. And if you have a family and you're going over there and you're using their pool as we did, and you're eating over there, you're saving a lot of money. I was very focused on my kids, even when we went to the grandparents. I was very focused on them, and I didn't have a lot of time to even, socialize when we went there because I did keep an eye on my kids a lot. So it's mostly you who's going to save money and make the difference. And that's what I want to talk about. Just finish this video up about how important it is to learn to live pretty much with nothing if you want to have kids. And then if God blesses you with more, wonderful, you have more. But a lot of times you don't need all that stuff. They don't need a lot of toys. They don't need a lot of stuff. They just need you.